ready. B Social TV presents After Hours with Austin.
Oh, look at that.
It's not even Throwback Thursday yet.
Blast from the past, man. That's nice.
Bringing back some old stuff.
That is. That's a good one, too. It's good to hear his
Oh,
voice.
yeah.
It's still the best intro this channel's ever had.
It is. It is. It's queued up all the time, just waiting for you.
That is. That's right. Good stuff, man. How's everybody doing? Doing good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Doing all right. Excited for another auction. Looking good. Let's bring that up. We don't have much time before it happens.
The Queens and the Royals are rolling out, man.
2 minutes. Yeah, here we go. We got a Crown, 1303, Paradise at 933, Kazakhstan, 18111, Vietnam at 6769, Portugal at 5355. Let's hit the refresh, see who's going to jump in there and cheesehead somebody.
Well, let's see. I think that the Royals going to go get a little pumping going. Ooh, yeah. That's nice. Look at that Portugal. That's a good one. That is nice.
Yeah, Portugal's a steal right now.
I've been seeing a lot of crowns. I've been liking to see the Apex with the crowns. So it's it's kind of been rolling out with all these royals and the princesses, man.
Oh yeah, I had to get the whale with the crown.
Yes. Did you tell everybody, Tim?
I told everybody. Well, I was on live without you, Ray.
You got the whale with the crown?
I got
the whale with the
that
crown.
one was nice.
Yeah,
it was a good V.
He's clean, huh?
Oh yeah.
You know, one thing about Portugal is they have a couple years ago, last year or 2 years ago, they made it a tax haven for crypto people. And so now there's like a bunch of like crypto nomad communities that are sprouting up over there.
Oh yeah.
My uncle was just telling me about one. He's actually going there for a trip next week. But there's a place in Portugal where it's like a lot of it's like $400 for 1-bedroom apartments, and it's like they took old resorts and turned them into like an apartment complex almost. And people travel from all over the world. They're just digital nomads, and they get high-speed Wi-Fi and trade crypto and do crypto all day.
$400 a month, you can't beat that, man.
And it's a resort. It's a resort.
Yeah. That is. That's excellent,
nice.
Man.
I like
it. Might have to be moving.
Yeah, I might have to try it out, man. Give it give it a shot, especially in the winter. I got to be finding some of these warm places, man.
Fast gas, right? Yeah, where your pipes won't freeze.
Yeah, where pipes don't freeze. That's right. Oh, yeah, you're going through there. I'll go through there. So after you got the 30 seconds, I'm going to just jump in there. Got some hellos. And I got a whole bunch of stuff with people happening. Bee hunting. I know. We're going to talk about that a little bit, Ariel, because it's like I said, we we got some to talk about. But what's going on with any of that, But you got 10 seconds, man.
10 seconds. Here we go.
Nine.
Who's gonna grab these?
8.
I know that Kazakhstan. Hey, this is beautiful all this time. It all goes into the DAO, goes in Queen's Vault tax. Great stuff that happens.
13, no change. 1811 took it. 67. Come on, nobody. There was no last minute buyers.
Wow, good
You
one.
got to remember, you got to refresh every now and then.
No, if I refresh, it goes away.
No, well, yeah, you can do it the ether scan. That's what Dusty does.
Yeah, we don't have Dusty here tonight.
I know.
Yeah, somebody came in at the end on Portugal.
A little bit.
They did a little bump. That's nice. Kazakhstan
Good.
for 8
That's a great deal for Portugal.
Anything under 20. I got a Royal under 20. And I thought I had a great deal. So
that empowerment bee on that Vietnam is freaking awesome.
It is
lava.
pretty cool. Yeah.
That's like a goblin, horned devil, smoking a cigar. That's like the perfect combo.
That goes good.
Of the lava boy.
Has he got a little? Is that like a little thug nugget too? Under there,
CryptoPunk.
Oh, is it a crypto? Okay, all right. Yeah, no, that's
nice.
a great get right there.
You think that's why Vietnam got the bump up there? That's why he got an extra 1,000.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's a pretty original empowerment bee.
Yeah.
But see, Robin knew. She remembered the good old Austin intro. Happy Wednesday. Good to see everybody. Janet, Floor. Wow, that is a prize. Austin in the house. I'll get off. Go ahead. You go ahead and read me.
We got Kazakhstan, the royal for tonight, a transcontinental country in its 9th largest country in the world and the world's largest landlocked nation It has no direct access to the sea, and it borders China, Russia, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan, occupying an area of 2,724,900 square kilometers, has an incredible natural wealth, and 99 elements mentioned in the Mendeleev periodic table are found in this country. Not all have been exploited so far, and this is the world's second largest reserves of lead, zinc, chromium, and uranium. It also ranks as the top 10 in the world for coal, iron, copper, manganese, and gold. It has an abundance of petroleum and natural gas, and is the 11th largest proven reserve globally. Man,
Hey Tim,
yeah.
What do you got trending in your politics over there?
What do you mean?
What do you got trending in your politics? Overdose.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's actually a funny story though. That hashtag small D energy that comes from. I don't know if you know who Andrew Tate is.
Yeah, Tate.
But Andrew Tate, he put a tweet out telling Greta Thunberg. I don't know how to say it. Thunberg, and said, "Hey, I've got 33 supercars, and they there's a Ferrari this and whatever." He's just kind of bloating, and he says, "Give me your email so that way I can email you all the enormous emissions I take up." So you see it right there. Andrew Tate's trending too, and so funny. Greta responds back with, "Here's my email," and she put smalldickenergy@getalife.com. so now they're duking it out on Twitter. It's kind of funny.
That is funny.
It's a side story, but
yeah, no, it is. It's like you said, that's funny. I was just reading something the other day, or watching it was with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has that podcast too. Yeah. They were talking about the difference. Same thing with the EV cars and iPhones. You should see. You know how they say it's clean energy? Yeah, you should see why they say it's clean energy. It's crazy, man.
But I see that. Well, I think it was Joe Rogan's podcast too. They're talking about what's happening in Congo. Yeah, how they're mining all of the
and people are doing it, bro.
Yeah,
they're using little stakes and little stones.
It's like crazy.
And little kids.
Yeah, and you should have saw there were like 10,000 of them in a hole. Right? That's not really clean energy. That's crazy, man. So yes,
we got a long way to go.
Off a rabbit hole, but it's all right. It's an interesting one.
Let's get us back focused here.
All right, Vietnam. Despite it being a tropical country, Vietnam does have snow in some areas. Yeah. It is the smallest town situated in northern Vietnam, over 1,600 meters above sea level. Sapia, known as Europe, inside Vietnam, where you can see snow falling. They have a serious penchant for motorbikes. Motorbikes are everywhere in Vietnam. No matter where you are, those motorbikes are always occupying some parts of your view. Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, are the two big cities in Vietnam, and they're also where motorbikes are used the most. Ho Chi Minh City now has 7.4 million, while Hanoi has over 5 million two-wheeled vehicles per 2017 statistics, and there's more than 45 million motorbikes in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Motorbike capital. And the last one is Portugal. We were taking a look at this one. The oldest country in Europe. Since 1139, Portugal appointed King Alfonso Henriques as its king. Its capital, Lisbon, is said to be 4 centuries older than Rome due to its excellent trading location. The Phoenicians settled in Lisbon around 1200 BC. A Portuguese explorer, Ferdinand Magellan, was also the first to complete a full journey around the Earth, having led the first expedition to circumnavigate the globe. The country is forcing and investing heavily in renewable energy, so much so that in 2016, the entire nation ran for almost 5 consecutive days entirely on renewable energy powered by wind, sun, and water. There you go.
You know what's cool about Magellan, when he circumnavigated the globe, there's something right underneath Argentina, and it's called Magellan Straits or Magellan Strait. And at the time, they hadn't discovered Antarctica. They thought there's like a little passage in between the edge of Argentina and like a small rocky island. And so he went through that thinking that was the very bottom of the earth, and it's really rocky, really hard to get through straits, really windy, all sorts of stuff. Well, so he went through that. He was the first one to do it, so they called it Magellan Strait. Well, like a little while after Sir Francis Drake, he was this next person to circumnavigate the globe. He went through the Magellan Strait, but as he got out of it, there was so much wind, it blew him back around the other part of the rocky island, and that's when they discovered Antarctica. So, there's a lot more room down here. Not as bad, not as treacherous, but there's a whole nother landmass over here. So that was there's something named after him for that, Magellan Straits.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's probably a little chilly down there too.
Very cold. Yeah, very cold.
Yeah.
Maybe Magellan just named it that way so that people would go through there and crash, so that he could go the easy way around the outside.
Yeah. There you go.
Exactly.
Well, and speaking of that, and I mean, that was all the queens, right? And the royals.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's we do need to discuss about what some stuff like that, because
navigating the tough waters of the crypto.
That is excellent. That's an excellent intro
segue.
There. Austin. Segue. It is, because we do. This is still the Wild West. You hear also say that all the time. It is the Wild West, man, and we're the pioneers, right? And again, in our community, we had another, just a horrible, being compromised. Another wallet, right, being compromised.
Yeah.
So you can see it even in our ecosystem with the tokens, right? We were, kind of doing really well uptrend. Everything's looking awesome, and then all of a sudden, large wallet, right, gets compromised. And what happens is they take all the assets and they don't want anything to do with us. They don't care. They just want the money, right? So they just start selling all of the assets, whatever it was, right? I'm not going to get into the details. Everybody, I'm sure it's crushing enough, right? I can only imagine. It's terrible. We've seen it many, many times. It's been on, in Zoom calls, a lot of people pulling together, and they did it again. People pulling together, helping to try to salvage as much as you can. But my goodness, man, everybody in this community, you really got to start taking this stuff very, very serious. We are banks. We operate like banks. We are fully responsible for our assets. That's what we say. That's why we all talk about over here being excited about it, because there's great gains. There's great kind of where you have control of it, but then there's great responsibility. And something bad happened again yesterday. You have to stop clicking on links. You have to stop. And Tim, you were talking about it back and forth on Discord, right? And you dropped something about how much of a laptop is. It's very simple, right? Go ahead, man. You were.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just obvious. It should be obvious by now that if you're going out for the night, you don't take all your money with you. And I mean, if you're going out to New York City, I'm not far from New York City. You don't put $90,000 in your pocket and say, okay, we're going out to the club. That should go. Everything you're holding, you're hodling, should go into a very secure place. Get yourself. I looked on Best Buy. It was $169 to get a Asus laptop, and you connect that only when you want to do a transaction. And I think everybody knows how to do that. Beyond getting the cold wallets and all the other stuff. But if you just get a separate laptop, do not connect it to the internet until you're ready to make trades and do stuff with it. I mean, everything you want to hold and hodl, you put on that laptop, on that MetaMask, however you're going to do your transactions, and then disconnect it. And don't go walking around. If you want to have it on your phone and you want to spend Dogecoin wherever they take it, or if you want to have a couple $1,000 of Ethereum if you want to trade something with somebody when you meet them. But you don't go walking around with a full wallet, out and about around town. And this meaning when you're online shopping or doing anything else, in chat rooms or talking on Facebook, you don't, and you're clicking on links, and everybody does it. You have to be careful. But a friend sends you a link to a stupid joke or something else or whatever. You don't know what's behind that, because nefarious people out there, hackers who might know that you're in this group or whatever, and they're like, oh, we're just going to send out links to coupons to trade or to even get one of these wallets. You could get compromised by affiliate links or something like that. you really want to be careful. If your wallet with all your money is hooked up, then you don't go playing around with any other link. You don't do anything else, because this is the most important. This is your bank. This is like, if you owned a bank in town, this is like leaving the keys in the door and going home for the night. You don't do that. And people now are getting to levels where, it's significant, serious money. Given, when I say serious money, when these people stole the money and they went and dumped it onto the market just to get ETH or trade it into what they wanted, it affects the price of what I have.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's not like, oh, somebody lost $1,000 and somebody sold it and it's a blip on the screen. This was a significant amount, which then affects all the bees, and it's tragic. I never wish that on anyone, especially all my bee friends. But you have to be careful. You have to be careful and move this stuff. I mean, $200 is not a lot to spend to protect yourself and to protect the whole group and everything else.
Yep, and that's what Austin, you were saying the same thing too, right? It's a lot of times when you click on these links and it looks like the same, but you're giving them permission to do it, right? And that you're saying?
Yeah. So just to touch on what Tim's saying, a second laptop is a great security measure, because that way that laptop's only tied to when you're doing those transactions. Also, a Ledger, a cold wallet. So Ledger, Trezor. There come out some other ones. My favorite's the Ledger Nano X. I also have a Trezor. So, be very cautious. And those are only I think you can get a Ledger Nano S for like $60 and they come within 3 days. So they're not complicated to set up. So getting a cold wallet, getting a cold storage, absolutely critical. And then you'll see it. What happens a lot of times is, and as we grow in popularity, there's going to be a lot more opportunists and grifters that come to try to trick and social engineer. So the blockchain is the most secure encryption out there. The blockchain is the most secure mechanism of a public network that we've had. But the biggest weak point is their own selves. And so what they do is they social engineer us. They'll put out, there's a couple of Twitter accounts that we've seen circumnavigating the Twitter world of fake crypto swarm. They'll add an extra R, or an extra M, or an extra underscore, or whatever it may be, or a 0 instead of an O. And so it tricks you to think you're on the right Twitter account, and then you click on their website and you end up, compromising your wallet by agreeing to a transaction. So still, a lot of times what happens is people agree to a transaction. It allows that contract to spend your money. And I think that's what's happened a few times in the past month and a half or so, is people losing bees or losing some of their tokens by thinking they're getting a cheap NFT or a cool cat for cheap or whatever, and they end up getting screwed by allowing somebody else to come into their bank and just take all their money. And so you got to be very cautious. And Tim, that's a great security measure, because if you're clicking on links but doesn't have a wallet connected to it, you're not really compromising your wallet, because your wallet's on a completely separate laptop. So you can be a little bit more
freewheeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, the internet's a fun place. I'm not saying don't check stuff out and do whatever you got to do, but you wouldn't bring all your money out to dinner. You just wouldn't do it. You wouldn't leave your Ferrari parked outside the restaurant with the keys in it.
You're not going to pay for dinner with your 401k.
Yeah. Card. It doesn't make sense to go to a party with the keys to your wallet, sitting there with everything you have in it. It just doesn't make sense at all. So everyone needs to really step up and protect themselves and protect everyone in the group. It's important.
Yep. Maybe we should have a Ledger masterclass. We schedule it out 2 or 3 weeks from now, and we do a Zoom call where we can share screens or go into rooms and have everybody order ledgers, and we help set them up for everybody.
Yeah, I know that's not. They're really not that hard, or as hard as people think. And I think that maybe some people have apprehension because they don't want to lose that. It's harder or easier to lose a little ledger like that or whatever it is. But even in all seriousness, if you just get a laptop that you keep things separate, that's a huge step and pretty close to what we're talking about with the ledger and everything else like that. It's more passwords for the ledger and all that kind of stuff. I think people are worried about that But even if you just, I mean, like I said, it's $150 at Best Buy. Go get yourself something.
Right. And then there's overkill too. Now, don't get freaked out, everybody. I mean, like I said, when you start doing this, of course, even when you do get that separate laptop, I mean, you can log into your email, right? I mean, I send addresses over there all the time or to another, so I can, move around funds and do different things with Coinbase. So, don't freak about, because I hear I'm not going to log into anything. It's not like that. It's just because you're on Discord, you're on Telegram, you're on Twitter, you're on all these places where scammers hang out. And yes, they also do it in your email as well. But obviously, you're on this special laptop. If you're sending yourself an email, it's not like Yahoo's going to hack you, okay? And I also want to understand, no one's ever been hacked. MetaMask has never been hacked, right? None of the blockchains have ever been hacked. It's always been the point of failure has been the person, right? The people, you as a bank. So that's all we're trying to fix is you, and that's what Tim is saying. Even if it's a laptop, just get it, because if I use my normal machine, right? But over there, these laptops, I don't ever mess with them. They only come on when I have to do something with the wallet. So, but yes, you can still hook up your email and do things like that. It's just much more safe. You won't ever have to worry about that. So yeah. Right. So
absolutely, you got to do it. You got to do it. There's really no reason not to do it. If you have any significant money to yourself or to the group, you really got to protect. Once you get over a couple $1,000, then you got to protect the group just as well as yourself.
It's true.
Because obviously this whale type guy or girl, I don't even know, but they got compromised, and now what did we lose? It was 10% of the price of bee honey. A blip on the screen that's going to look funny to people, but that was the other thing I said, Ray. I was like, we got all this run up, everything's looking great, and we're going to have news coming out, and people are going to go, but why did it go from it had a nice steady run up to $1.18, and then all of a sudden, boop, somebody changed their mind, and maybe they know something we don't. It's right. What we know is that somebody got compromised, and
that's another great thing about being a part of the community, right? And this is the things why we talk about this stuff like this too. And another reason why we talk about it's being like the Wild Wild West. You do need a posse. You need a gang. You need a gang to hang out with. That's what they did back in the Wild Wild West. You have to have people that you can count on and get correct information from, fight off these these bandits and things like that. So that's why you need to have a group like this, and that's why you talk about when anybody in your family or friends or anybody else in your circles, you get them doing the things that Austin and Dusty are trying to promote on Discord and getting that community going over there. That's the reason for that, right? I know we're getting to do cool things with rewards, but it's more about getting to know each other, getting camaraderie, getting that community going, because you can ask normal questions. You can come on, you see people on here on the chat that just come in and just ask questions. That's a pretty big value in any market, right? I don't care where you're at. It doesn't have to be just crypto. Anywhere you can do that and get that information that is really hard to find, and the real one, not like anything. Obviously, we love our community and we love all the assets in it, but we're not, it's not just hype and craziness over here. We believe in it because there's so many good people doing so many good things. But you get real information here, right? So good on safety, everybody. Please stop clicking on links.
Yes.
Be careful. There is no reason, like even Austin said before we got on here, there's no reason to FOMO and get all that hype and I gotta do that. There's nothing out there more important than most of the stuff that you already have in your wallet, right? We know that this is going to move in a great, not financial advice. It's going to move in a great way, and I don't think you're going to find something out there better than what you already have in your wallet, right? I've come to see, certainly, yeah, that's it.
Another great safety measure is, once you have maybe a separate computer or laptop, or you have your ledger set up, you treat that almost like a vault, and then you have like another wallet or another address that's like a trading wallet. So you fund it with a small amount, and if you do want to go and mint something new or try to explore a little bit more, at least you use that trading wallet that doesn't have all of your main assets in there. So you're only risking what's in that trading wallet as
Right.
opposed to your whole wallet. So also using a secondary or third wallet or fourth wallet for trading is a good safety measure as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, you can't be too safe. Obviously, that we're trying to drive that point home, but you got to start, separating the stuff that you can't afford to lose into somewhere that's more secure.
Yep.
Um, have a play wallet and then have something different that's not connected. It's not that's super easy to do. Obviously, if you're here, and have a little bit, you've done it once. Just do it again on another laptop, and then you go for the hard wallets and all the other measures. A second email, all the other stuff you can do to bury yourself in protection, and you'll be happier for it.
Yeah.
It's a
Hey, and listen, I know
Can't get away
does.
from
It seems a little overwhelming too when you get a ledger or it's a little scary. Like, oh, I gotta learn this. I just did it. Like 3 weeks ago. I told Tim one of my laptops crashed. I mean, it's just it died, and I was like, oh, I was been wanting to transfer the wallet from another one to another one, and then I was forced to, and then I had to count and be like, man, I hope I wrote everything down properly, and I did. But transferring it, doing things like that, that's it is all very kind of freak you out. But I'm telling you, you're gonna be surprised when you first do the ledger. It is very simple. But like Austin said, I think it is right. We'll do a Zoom. We'll do some kind of breakout and get everybody, getting used to and getting that ledger and using it, right? Because even too, it helps even with goofy FOMO, right? And you think you want to buy something, it makes you have an extra step of thinking of, should I even buy this thing? Because you got to go get that device, right? Whether you have it at your house, somewhere else, you still got to go get it. So it's another added step. It's just like, think of it like another firewall. It's just another security measure. But if they compromise your wallet, they need that other one, and it has 24 words, not 12. But just saying, we won't harp on it too much, but it's very, very important. I see Saluki also talked about the airdrops. Austin said it anyway. Everybody's going to start really, really targeting the group, right? They see that there's a lot of stuff that is happening here, and there you go, and that's what we'll have to put it on, Kim. But yeah, goofy foam, and it's true. Not making fun of FOMO, but yeah, you just don't you don't do that, right? There's no reason to do that, and Ledger helps you with that, and or Treasure, but it's just something that we all need to do, and we need to stop with any of this link stuff. Tell your friends before. Hey, here's something we all should do anyway. Before you ever do anything, call a friend, right? Before you try that. Let's start trying that in the group, because it doesn't. Number one, I feel bad for the individuals, right? But also for the community as a whole. It like Tim says, obviously that's not a first. I can't even imagine again individually. It's a pretty tough one, right? But I'm just saying, as this gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's a lot of people involved, right? It won't be as kind of noticeable, but it's we're always going to be as a community concerned and want to kind of help each other. So let's try that. Like, before you do something, call a friend or somebody in the community, get an answer before you do something. That might be another little added step we could do as a community. I don't know, just crazy. What's there, Kim? Ray Light, sorry, I would like to get the new ledger you were talking about. Should I get the new one and set up? Yeah, what new ledger you were talking about? Should I wait to get a new one? Yeah, do you already have one, Kim? Or is this Cash Cab? If you already have one, then as long as you got it from the official ledger source, then you have to that's good. Don't get it from eBay. Don't get it from Amazon. Get it from the official ledger manufacturer and the site. And again, that's we can always do that, Kim. We'll do that. So yeah, okay, cool. Then we'll get on, like Austin said. We'll start setting up some kind of meeting after the new year, and we'll all help each other. Right? It just needs to happen. Good idea. So spent more than I thought we were going on that, but that's all right, because today is DAO Wednesday. We're going to talk about the DAO and this awesome ecosystem that we're all part of. And let me share my screen and kick it off. Unless you want to start with some regulation stuff there, Austin. Either way.
No, I don't like that conversation.
I got you, man. Real quick. This is not. It's not. About the DAO, but I did this yesterday. I'm not telling everybody to do this. You're just going to see why, sometimes when you see stuff, you kind of want to follow that trail. So I saw Elon the other day, just yesterday, tweet, why is corporate journalism rushing to defend the state instead of the people, right? Because all the stuff that's going on, right? The reason why I did that is this guy, Leighton, right here, he's on Substack, and he's saying establishment journalists' response to the Twitter files is that of a professional committed to protecting the state instead of exposing. He is talking about adding this Substack to Twitter. He said he tweeted to Elon Musk that he should buy Substack, and Elon actually said, "I'm thinking about it." Right? So not pushing toot my own horn. So when I see this kind of stuff happening, I just created a Substack for NFT DeFi. Right? Even too, other people can do one maybe for social bees. These are things that you should keep an eye out. Right? As a community, this is important. If you see that this is going to be purchased by Twitter, hey, might be a good idea to start getting ahead of it, because if you know anything about, and I know we don't, and kind of into with the keywords and stuff like that, because if you start owning stuff that say NFT DeFi or social bees, it's a great thing because no one else can get it. But really,
one thing about Substack that's pretty cool is it's like it's like right in between of Web 2 and Web 3. They call it kind of like Web 2.5.
Right.
So what they did is just essentially a company that enabled people to create their blogs and monetize them really easily.
Yep.
So like people were creating a lot of blogs on the internet. And when you do that, you got to set up your own domain. You got to have your own web hosting. You got to create your own website. You got to drive traffic to it. And it becomes to where the everyday person to start a blog, that's a lot of stuff that you have to go through in order just to start writing out things that you like and sharing your ideas. So Substack comes along, makes it really easy for you to create a blog. And there's been other companies that have done that. But one thing different with Substack is they share a lot of their revenue with the people creating it, or they just make it really easy for you to add your own paywall in there. So Ray can have a free newsletter that comes out, a free blog that comes out. And then he can add on there like, hey, subscribe if you want premium blogs or premium content to my newsletter, and $5 a month or $10 a month. And he's able to start monetizing his value of creating newsletters. So it's one of those that right in the middle. It's real interesting to where they could they've monetized people's newsletters, made it easier for them. So those that are interested in writing, medium.com, substack.com, those are great platforms for you to start a newsletter or some type of blog.
Right. It is. And that's, I just dropped it in there. Again, it's not the self-promotion. It's something that you can also,
Ray's got links.
I got links. That's a good link, but still, even that, I'm just saying some of that, I'm here. We're all on here. That's directly from our channel. But that stuff still, you should obviously, kind of be hesitant, right? But that is a Substack. And that's mine personally. I think obviously we'll do one specifically for Social Bees University. But the whole point is that's what I read is that Elon is probably going to purchase that and integrate it to Twitter, right? That would be pretty cool. Because again, that's what Austin's saying. It's close to Web3. It's 2.5. And when you start seeing what he's going to probably do with Twitter in the future, a great transactional payment system, then pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff that we'll see. There's but anyways, I won't hang up on there. But I just wanted to bring that up because Substack is pretty cool. Social Bees University DAO. So I'm on the docs, right? And I wanted to start off with the SBU NFT holders have complete control, right? Let me get down here again. We have, as an NFT holder, you have complete control over the DAO smart contract, the DAO contract. Any proposal or interaction pertaining to a DAO contract will require a vote to pass. Contract proposals, this is just talking about 20% quorum, and a vote in order to pass, right? 70%. And the reason I'm touching on that is because I was going through, before we did the show and seeing, right? Here's another article talking about right here. DAOs own the smart contract and digital assets, NFTs, to bring autonomy, removing the concept of a CEO and leadership from any NFT platform. And I know that when we always talk about concepts, and I try to get people to understand, because Austin and Tim, I mean, how hard is it usually to get people, pulled from that top-down leadership, I need a leader type thing. How many times, since I know you guys have been in, isn't that always kind of an issue? Is that they're always looking for, okay, well, what do I do? It's really just do something, right? Just find your thing and start doing it. If it's wrong, we can correct and do things right like that. But that's really one of the main things, is that as an NFT holder, you're an owner of the smart contract that has been built and the digital assets that are in it, right? But now also removing the concept of a top-down leadership from the NFT platform, because we're a decentralized organization. What do you guys, for me, that has been one of the most difficult, not most difficult, but it's been hard to get people past that, right?
Yeah, well, just look at society. 95% of the workforce, they're employees as opposed to entrepreneurs.
Right.
And for not saying that's good or bad, but that's kind of like the mindset that we're going away from. So instead of having a bunch of employees, we're going to where we're all owners. So we're entrepreneurs in our own rights to see, what we can create within this new economy. And so nobody's an employee of somebody else. In this DAO, we're all on the same level of executive power, executive decision making, executive work. It's nobody's an employee of somebody else. And so right. It's a difficult mind shift, especially for people that have been in the workforce with the store manager and a regional manager and an executive team and a corporate team and whatnot. In the corporate workforce, it's a completely different structure to where we are the corporation, if that makes sense.
Right. And it's not that you're just getting some kind of, salary or hourly rate, right? It's that we all hold it. We all hold this asset. And, it kind of should put a fire under each and every one of us, because we're the ones that are going to make it more valuable. We're the ones that are going to make, get the marketing, or we're the ones that are going to talk about it. We're the ones that are going to come out with the, talking, how you do the talking points of it or whatever. And it's, it's all up to every one of the NFT holders, even token holders, everyone. Look at M2, that same thing. These are all assets that we hold, right? And it's always shifted. That's why I'm telling you, I like to talk about concepts and how this all, you got to think about it before you really start understanding what's really going on here, because it is different, right? People are not used to that, and that's just one of the ones that's always been hard to unlock. The thought process of people. To me, I just thought,
Yeah, I always look at it. I don't know if it's the right word, but I say it's equity in an organization that happens to come with a JPEG, happens to come with a piece of art. And that represents like your ownership in there. Yeah. I don't know if that's the right wording or whatnot, but it's kind of like a way I look at it. Mm-hmm. And, it's called a community, right? We always use that word community. Mm-hmm. Well, in this case, the community is a group of people that have their own unique talents, skills, contributions to this organization. They're not employees to anybody else. So it's not a group of employees. It's a community of people that are coming together for a greater cause and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. And for like a movement, like we talk about as well. I mean, that's how you do change things, right? Everybody's got to start kind of believing in what's going on, not just specifically here. That's why I'm saying it's always been a battle with this whole decentralized versus centralized. That's why I'm glad this whole year kind of happened, because it really needed to kind of, kick us in the pants, right? Because everybody was starting to do the same old stuff, man. Using all the centralized things. And I'm like I said, I'm hoping that this really was a good kick in the rear end, and everybody really starts taking this serious. Even this, kind of what happened, in our community with this, kind of person getting hammered by whatever this, like I said, this somebody compromising their wallets. Like I said, there's good and bad, but we should all take this very serious.
I got a question here, Ray.
Yeah.
So Lucky Jean says, can you give an example of the voting thing? And says, I have an idea. I bring it up, and the community decides whether it's cool or not. So basically, I think you're on the
right here,
the docs right there. So you can go. The SBU NFT holders have a complete control over the DAO smart contracts. Any proposal or interaction pertaining to the DAO contract requires a vote to pass. Proposals require 20% quorum and 70% for in the affirmative to vote in order for that to pass. So yeah, there it is right there. When you make a proposal, you got to have at least 20% of the people voting and 70% of those people voting for it to pass.
Right. Well, and let's just, as an example, let's just say, I don't know. I mean, there's a time frame of this whole the bees yielding, right? Say we wanted to extend it to 50 years, right? Instead of a certain time period that's now. Say you wanted to change that contract to say, hey, I want to be able to the bee to yield for 50 years, right? That's the time frame. There would have to be us, as a bee holder, one of us. It only takes one to write that into the DAO. Let me look at it and go over there. So you say and see the DAO here, right? And everybody, you'll start seeing where they'll have documents on how you would do it. But you would click into this DAO, and then there's the create a proposal, right? You would hook up your wallet, okay, and you create a proposal. And like I said, there's steps. You'll see there's a document that shows you how to do it. But then you would put that proposal in, and as Tim was saying, you need 20% quorum of the entire collection of bees. So 20% of the entire collection of bees has to be in the voting, and you have to get 70% of that 20%, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you do, then the smart contract gets approved, and the developers would, I guess, make the adjustments for the coding that needs to happen. And then, the code will be pushed. I don't know if, all that stuff with the timing and scheduling and time frame would have to be voted on, but I'm probably, sure it probably doesn't. But who knows? I don't know. But then that contract would be adjusted. The developers change the code. It would be pushed. And now, you just made an adjustment, by just a vote, right? By just holding a B NFT and proposing this thing to the DAO. Does that make sense? Is that pretty much on right with that, Austin?
Yep.
Did you add anything?
Yeah. In this case, whatever. So the developers won't have any control over this. Right. So if there's like a vote, it can be something as simple as like, or mostly in our treasury, our DAO contract has bee honey tokens. Mm-hmm. There's some waifu tokens in there. I think maybe some goats, but for the most part, there's bee honey tokens in there. And so it could be something as simple as transfer 10 bee honey tokens to this address. Mm-hmm. And that's a proposal. Well, everybody can go vote on it. And the execution of that transfer has been delegated to the success of that vote. So if it's all voted for, it's automatic. It gets executed and it gets sent. So there's nobody in the developers don't have to go in there and program or do any contracts or do any changes. It's the 100% of the transfer function out of that DAO contract is delegated to the vote succession. So if it succeeds, then it just needs somebody to pay a gas fee. Anybody can do it. They don't have to own a bee. They pay a gas fee to execute it. And whatever that function was that they're asking for, if it's just transferring 10 bee honey, it gets automatically sent to whatever address. And like one good maybe like learning thing to see some examples of some of this stuff is maybe to go and look at the nouns DAO. I don't know if you want to pull that up, but nouns.wtf. And you can see that they've passed a numerous amount of proposals, and it's a similar proposal system. Click on DAO. And so if you scroll down, you'll see proposals. So some are pending, some have been executed, some have been queued, and there's all sorts of, they've passed a lot, or they've pushed a lot of proposals. Some say defeated, some say canceled, some say active. So they go on there and they have different voting mechanism, and obviously it's a different project, but it's something similar.
And like, they had one. They had one for the Super Bowl where they had like a little sponsorship spot, and no one really I forget exactly what commercial it was, but they had these little pixelated glasses that was part of I forget, it was either a beer, I think it was a beer commercial, but that's what they voted for. I mean, I'm not going to go back and find it, but that's literally something that they voted for, and it passed for the Super Bowl. Right?
Yeah, look at some of those on there. So they have Nouns Fair at ETH San Francisco. So click on that. It was executed. So it shows how many people voted for it, 168 nouns, against it 0 abstained. It shows the threshold, so the quorum was 48 votes down below. It ended October 26th. It was taken at this block, and then there's a description of what the proposal is. So it shows, hey, we're invited to this event, and we want to do some sponsoring of it or some sort. So the DAO funded a sponsorship or funded some type of participation in this event. So these are just examples of proposals. Our proposal mechanism is a bit different, so it's not exactly the same, but it's just shows like at least some sense of a ballpark of an idea.
Right. And look, this is the stuff that they set up, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
got a
man.
bee or sunflower.
Yeah.
So I mean that's exactly like a proposal. Like say there's a big event and we feel like the SBU DAO should have a presence at that event. So we'll put a proposal in and say, hey, I'm proposing that me and this group of people are going to go and set up a booth at ETH Bogota, and because we think we need a presence there. And if that vote gets passed, then we'll use the funding from it to set up a booth and sponsor the event and have people be there at the event to represent the bees. And if the DAO views that as something valuable of those funds, then they'll pass it. If they don't think it's valuable, they'll decline it. So it's a beautiful way of the community coming together. But this is like a whole breakdown of their proposal. They're showing exactly how much it's going to cost, what their plan is, how they're going to execute it, just keeping it all transparent for all of the nouns to go and vote.
Which is crazy, man. It's awesome. I mean, you can see that's what they talk about with transparency. How cool is that, man? And you get to see. And, I mean, I don't know what anybody knows, but we've been to quite a few NFT, events, and every one of us have paid our own costs, right? How much, better finally, you're part of this community where you can kind of get these funds if it's, obviously feasible and beneficial to the entire community, then you have to kind of fork it out on your own, right?
Now, is this let me ask you this, and actually it's Saluki asking the question, but how are we notified about these? Is it hooked up to the Discord, or do we have to just keep checking on that?
So I think the proposal system goes live later this year. I don't think it's fully live right now. I think there's a time lock on the proposal system, but it is on the website, and yeah, we can actually. I think we talked about before having Dr. T setting up a bot for it. So anytime a proposal comes out, he'll automatically tweet it out on Twitter. So make sure you're following Dr. T when that gets set up, and also we can create a channel in the Discord for when new proposals are live. Again, I don't think they're live. The proposal system isn't live until later this year. So.
Yeah, cool. Good question. So did you want to touch on the any of that regulations? That was interesting, man. I know you don't like to mess around like it's like financial advice, but it is good. I mean, that's something that, hey, I don't know. It's like if we can go and still kind of get behind, anybody like that. And I know it's not senators and Congress people doing it, but that's kind of stuff that you can bring up and be, kind of be, active with that. Right.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the regulation world, as always. I'm part of like the thought leadership or mindset of it's just like a mess right now. And once it gets settled, then that's kind of like really when it's good to key in on like every little fine detail. Right now, it's like such a toss up in the air that the rules are changing every single day. But a couple of developments came out this past week or two. And one of them is actually somebody in the SEC, I believe, they just stepped down because they admitted to accepting a bribe from FTX, and so they wouldn't be able. It was coming out in their bankruptcy letters or coming out in like blockchain data or whatever it may be. I've seen that. I don't know, so I don't want to say that's probably more so of a rumor. I don't know how to verify that. I've seen it like I think on Twitter, but that's interesting. If that is true, that just shows like the power of transparency coming through again. Another one was that there was a huge DAO. There's a DAO that got hacked earlier this year called Mango DAO. I think it was maybe on no, it wasn't on Solana, but they got hacked, and essentially their voting mechanism was based off of fungible tokens. And so what somebody was able to do was they were able to go take a flash loan, and that's probably not try to complex everything here, but they're essentially able to game the voting mechanism to where they were able to get $100 million out of this DAO. So they gamed the voting mechanism using fungible tokens and flash loans and some other methods. It was really complex. And then they went on Twitter and started bragging about it. And they held the tokens hostage and the community tried to retrieve them. So now there's a huge lawsuit going on, and they've classified in this lawsuit, they've classified those DAO tokens as a commodity. So that kind of starts to set a precedent around how the government or regulation is viewing DAO tokens, if they're commodities, if they're securities, if they're whatever it may be. So in this particular case, they're viewing it as a commodity in this just beginning lawsuit.
Huh. Yeah, that is. That would be better than what you keep hearing with it being a security, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff, and that is I hope we do start kind of hearing really what, because I've been looking forward. I've been hearing Mr. Wonderful been saying it all the past summer, but now you're starting to see him all wrapped up with this FTX stuff, and man, I would like to start seeing some kind of guardrails and what the heck all this is, man. Because again, we're all building over here,
Yeah, there's a guy by the name of it's actually a great podcast to listen to, probably about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. His name is Robert Breedlove. It's kind of an interesting last name, Breedlove. But Robert Breedlove, he's a huge Bitcoin guy, Bitcoin maxi. He's been in Bitcoin for a long time, so he's made, he's at the very beginning of Bitcoin, so he's Bitcoin well. But he also hosts a lot of podcasts. But he went on to a podcast by Lex Friedman. Lex Friedman, he's here in Austin, Texas, but he has a very popular podcast called the Lex Friedman Podcast, has millions of subscribers and whatnot. We went on there about a year and a half ago, and he has a great analogy of how regulation, I guess, how he views it. And essentially, it's like regulation. How do they word it? Essentially, it's like you have say you have the United States, its geographical area. Well, the regulation would be like the border around the United States. So it's not getting intertwined and getting all complex what's going on, but they just make sure that they keep the border safe. And I don't know how to really explain. We had a great analogy. It's a great podcast. He breaks down. It really opened my eyes a lot of stuff about regulation. But essentially, it's putting regulation. They just want people to be safe. They don't want people getting taken advantage of. If being full self-sovereign, there's a lot of people that are predatory and they take advantage of, and there happens to be a lot of victims. So if every human being in society wasn't a grifter, and if they were all 100% honest in what they were wanting to achieve, that'd be a utopian society, right? But unfortunately, we don't live in that society. There's a lot of predatory people out there that try to take advantage of other people and manipulate them. And so in this case, just kind of view regulation as a way that it kind of helps people from being victims in a way, but not stifling innovation in a way. So
yeah. It does, but it works both ways, because then the other side, the regulators, obviously, right. You just see, like you said, the SEC guy got caught up in the mix. And that's the whole, again, amazing concept of blockchain. It's to remove all of that failure, right? And that's where you have that breaking point. That failure is with people, because again, people are greedy, people are selfish, and that's sometimes in people's nature. You can't pull it out of them, man. So hopefully, again, that's a lot of the stuff that we can start kind of winning with this decentralized and DAOs and NFTs and that we were talking about it earlier, and I was even over here since Christmas, and a lot of people were over, and I was just saying I was really impressed about how we learn and we adjust this group. It's really amazing, man. Because we went through DeFi, we got the experience. It was wonderful. It was great. I liked the whole yielding and all the compounding and all that stuff. But then there was that lockup period, right? And we understood, hey, that's probably not the greatest idea, right? And that's really what's amazing is, and again, I know a lot of people in our group think NFTs were not a part of this, but now that you have this new piece of NFTs, you'll never have that issue again. There's no lockups unless we're playing games, and games are fun. We're doing that with Trait Wars. That's amazing. But you'll never have that issue again, because all of the mechanics, all of the smart contract, all the action goes along with that NFT. If I want to get out and I want to, head out and just go live in St. Lucia and I'm done with the bees or whatever, I could sell you all my bees, the Austin or Tim. I could sell you all my bees and I'm done. and it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't harm anything. Secondary sales helps the ecosystem. There's a lot of amazing things where you're trying to understand this space, and you learn and you adjust, and that's what's cool, man. I mean, and again, we're still just the beginning, right? There's going to be even more innovation and learning and understanding and adjusting. It's good. It's not bad. It's really, like I said, when you step back and see how all of this has worked out exactly as kind of what was thought of kind of at the beginning. But now none of the unlocking stuff, right? And now you just I'm done. I don't want it. Here's my NFT. Give me my 250 ETH for one NFT, right? I'm just joking, man.
That sounds good.
But I'm just saying, that's a beautiful part of it, and it's really cool when you step back and see. And like I said, I got to explain that to people that are kind of been poking around and hearing, but it's good things that happen when you're kind of going through and understanding what's all going on here. Yeah.
There's my family, they love history, and so I have a lot of history discussions with like my grandparents or my dad or my uncles and whatnot. And one topic we got on this last week was Martin Luther back in the 1500s. I think the late 1400s or early 1500s or so. And what happened is at that time that the world essentially ran by the Catholic Church and Spain, and King Philip in Spain, and then they had the arm of the Pope in the Vatican and whatnot. But at the time, the Bible was the only source of information, and the Bible was only written in Latin, which was already a complex language. So majority of people didn't speak Latin, and 99% of people didn't even read. They were all illiterate.
Yeah.
And they didn't even know how to write. And so one thing that was happening was I think it was the Catholic Church. What they did is they announced something called indulgences. And this was, and it obviously it depends on maybe your perspective of history or what side of you're on, because it's going to be painted in the light of whatever side you resonate with, I guess. But the church had been spending a lot of money, and the city or the kingdom was running out of money. And so they had this idea, we're going to do indulgences. We're going to sell these notes, these certificates, that if you pay the church this tax, this indulgence, then you're going to get a certificate that lowers your sins on this earth and gets you a better standing in God's light. And so Martin Luther, he was like a very proponent of the actual word of the Bible. And so he was like, no, it doesn't say that in the Bible, that you can sell me a certificate. And what happened was like this uprising that Martin Luther caused, and they called it the Reformation era, or the Protestant era. They started the Protestant movement, which England got really behind because they were protesting this tax. And the biggest problem at the time was that people didn't understand because they weren't able to read the Bible for themselves. So they only took the word of the Bible from whoever was teaching it to them. And what happened with that power is some of these priests became corrupt. Not all of them, but there's a percentage of these priests and these preachers that became corrupt, and they used that power, the illiteracy of the people, and they used that power for their advantage. And so this is what Martin Luther stood up, and he actually ended up translating the Bible into German. And so now all the German citizens were reading the Bible, and when they were getting charged, they got charged a tax on animals they owned. So they either had to pay on their livestock, the animals they had, or give their animals to the church. And they started the peasant versus they call it the peasant war, and there was a war happening. And the reason why I bring up that story is right now a lot of our banking system, a lot of our laws, a lot of our regulation, a lot of our government systems is in language that we don't really quite comprehend. The everyday citizen doesn't quite comprehend. And what Web3 does, what blockchain does, is it gives us ability to kind of get better understanding. It's kind of like rewriting from Latin into German, so we understand really what the Bible's saying and not taking the word for it from the priest. So right now we just had a $1.7 trillion bill get passed by Congress, and 4,500 pages, and they supposedly read it and voted on it within 2 days. They would have to read like 4,500 words a minute or something like that in order to read that in 2 days and vote on it. So there's a lot of complex language in there that still doesn't make sense, even if you read it. And we don't even know what we just voted on or what they just passed, $1.7 trillion. So hopefully what blockchain does is it enables, through the transparency of transactions and whatnot, is people to actually see where this funding's going. It enables them to read the language or understand the laws in a different light that empowers citizens to push a society forward and limit the amount of corruption that can happen. Because as they say, absolute power absolute corrupts. And so we don't know that. I mean, I'm not saying there's corruption in that bill, but I'm saying we don't know. And there's no. You're muted, Ray.
Right.
I'll say, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt. There was corruption, Austin. I'll say.
So, at the end of the day, just like kind of like, I love studying history in the sense of trying to understand how governments came together, how countries came together, how society kind of came together, how they governed themselves, why they decided to go down this route. Like what was the thinking process of how they set things up? Why was it that some of the events happened the way they did? And we can learn a lot from it. And we've advanced tremendously. And another thing that's really powerful about right now is that we have this thing called the internet. So previously, if we wanted to get information, again, it was you're going to your local church and they're just telling you how the world worked through the eyes of them interpreting the Bible in their interpretation. And then it got to where people were able to read the Bible for themselves. So they all started their own beliefs and they were able to have their own belief around it. Well, now we have something called the internet. A majority of our information that we're doing, like exactly right now, I'm a public citizen, Ray's a public citizen, Tim's a public citizen, and you are listening to information from us. So we have this ability, this freedom, this democratization of information, of us exchanging information between each other, as opposed to you getting this directly from the government or directly from, a central source. So this essentially, the internet decentralized information, and you're seeing that's why Joe Rogan's podcast is the hugest, streamed audio in all of the world. And you're seeing that come to life more and more. YouTube with citizens streaming content and sharing their knowledge. There's a huge debate around the COVID stuff with medicine. It was like, what's true? Some doctors were saying this, some doctors were saying that. The White House was saying this. The World Health Organization was saying this. It was so much. Who do you trust? And the beautiful thing about it is us as citizens, with the power of the internet, we have a choice on what information we want to trust. Mm-hmm. And before you only had to just listen to a centralized information source. Information's been decentralized. Next, it's going to be the monetary system, our transactions, our value, our assets, commodities. Our blockchain's going to decentralize, our monetary system, and in my opinion, is better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. And what's funny too is obviously it's great to know and be very well informed and stuff like that too, but you don't have to know every intricate detail, right? I mean, even look at these NFTs, just holding them and all of the things that happen by just holding it. Again, starting to understand the concepts and the overall what it's supposed to do. But yeah, you don't know the coding, you don't know the smart contracts, you don't know every detail, but holding that thing in your wallet, every millisecond that thing's going to yield out starting May 11th, right? That's cool. And I mean, like Austin's saying, of course you want to be informed, and that's a great place. We're going to be, trying to do this. And I just saw that Night Owl's talking about she loves DAO Wednesdays. That's great because we want to do this and continue to have this conversation because it's important. Everybody that owns a B, you are this DAO. You are part of this DAO. You need as much information as you can get, much understanding as you can kind of learn. But then, then all it really takes is you just holding that NFT or some bee honey, right? So it is cool, right? That it's neat how all of this is working out. Just like I think what my mom says it all the time. I don't need to how the electricity works, right? I just flip the switch, right? It turns on, light turns on. So I do know how to flip that switch, and that's what you're doing. You own this NFT. You're smart enough to be in early, right? As this thing moves on past the new year, we got a lot of amazing things that are going to be happening. This thing is going to be, talked about everywhere in the world. It's exciting, and this is kind of us just kind of taking on, what we've talked about from the very beginning, really changing the world, and it's going to be done through these type of organizations, DAOs, NFTs, crypto, blockchains, all of this stuff. It's amazing. So there you go.
Absolutely. It's standing up for what you think is right, and you have an avenue for that. And the SBA DAO becomes an avenue for, you pushing an initiative that you think is right for society. So like we have Jimmy over there at the Tree Gens. He's really passionate about sustainable energy, and he thinks that the world should run off of more sustainable energy sources, and he's pushing that forward. Well, he can leverage the power of the SBA DAO in hopes to accomplishing some of those dreams of those initiatives. And that's the same with anybody. I know Donna Nidal, she talks all the time about regenerative farming. Well, what if there's an initiative that she wants to put together that's like, hey, I'm going to put a proposal to the SBU DAO that we're going to buy some land out in New Zealand or Montana or whatever it may be, and we're going to set up a regenerative farm, and everybody that has a bee gets a monthly box shipped to them of fresh grass-fed organic meat, and the regenerative farm is actually good for the environment as far as my knowledge, but it's very limited in that case. But those are examples. It's like whatever it is that you think that the world can be better at, before you didn't really have an avenue, or the avenues were very limited. In the United States has been with it being a free market, it's been a great avenue for society to do that. But now that opens up to the world, to where people have an avenue within the SBU DAO to push an initiative or push something that they believe is right, and they have actually an opportunity to bring that to the world and actually change the world for a better place.
Yep, right on, man.
There you go.
Yeah, I think we made it to the next next auction. Yeah, Tim. Are we?
Oh, did we?
Look at us, man.
Let me see. Let me put this up there. Hold on one second.
Yep.
Did you?
Yes, Robin.
You got it, or you want me to do it?
No, go ahead. I'm just going through the chat. That's what she was talking about. Excellent. Yep, the wheels are turning.
Woo! Wait a minute.
Oh,
the Vatican has its
Vatican
own
City.
Wow.
And you were just talking about it, Austin. Look at that. That's some timing right there, bro.
The Princess of Mexico. Ooh,
wow,
that's a pretty girl right there.
Finland too, man.
Mexico and Finland.
Wow, I can't believe the Vatican. That's crazy, bro. That's the smallest country in the world.
The Vatican, yeah, isn't it like just a few square miles or square kilometers?
Yep. But it has a lot of wealth.
Yeah.
Well, what's crazy too is the Vatican has a lot of artwork. Isn't like I've never been to the Vatican. Maybe we bring FOMO on here, but from what I've seen videos and pictures, and people describe it like it looks kind of small in my eyes in pictures, but people describe it as like it's a lot bigger when you go inside of it, and literally everything is full of art. And it's like it's not blank walls, it's not basic structure, it's very intricate design and a lot of artwork on there, and it just shows how creative that Renaissance period opened it up for people.
Yeah, man. Yep. Even that crown, look, it's another crown. Lady crown. Very cool, man. Excellent stuff. But yeah, no, great Wednesday. Appreciate it.
Does the Mexico Queen, their empowerment has a sombrero. How perfect is that?
Ice cream sombrero. That's nice. What is it? Oh, I was going to say it's a bowler. That's a bowler hat, not a cowboy hat. Under Finland, the ladybug. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bowler hat. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, but that's a great lineup, man. I like it. Finland.
5.5 million bee honey in the treasury too. Beautiful.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And look at the Queen's Vault. I mean, I remember just looking at that the other, a couple of weeks ago. It was only 700 or something.
Yeah.
That thing's climbing steadily, bro. Yeah.
Everything's
good times.
Buzzing right along.
Yep. 1.1 burnt. That's excellent. Good stuff, man. But no, Austin, yeah, we always appreciate it, man. It's a great show, great Wednesday. Talking about the DAO, and we'll always appreciate your input, man, and conversation. Good stuff.
No, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for staying consistent over these past couple of years with always doing this show. I don't know where we would be without the ray of light and the judge. I always appreciate y'all and just how consistent y'all are. I mean, it just shows a lot about your character. So really appreciate y'all.
Right. Appreciate that, bro. Yep.
Well,
sounds good.
I've said it before. I'm here to learn. Learn from Ray, learn from you and every other guest and everybody that asks questions. It just helps me, get smarter about the whole ecosystem. So I learn something new every day, and most of the time it's on this show. So I appreciate you, Ray, and Austin, definitely for coming and talking about this stuff. I like to contribute as much as I can and try and, put it in analogies that, make sense to other people and help clarify in my own head. But yes, the whole process has been just a great learning process for myself. And then, so I can go and try and pound it into my kids' heads and other friends and try and get them to become bees. So, but it's catching on, I'm wearing them down. So it's good. It's good. I'm looking forward to some good news on New Year's. I'm looking good excited for the anniversary and the birthday party or whatever we're going to call it. I'm excited. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we got to figure something out, huh? We got to have something. Yeah. Last year, I don't know if we can top last year. That's when we launched the Bees NFT collection, man. Did it live on YouTube. Pretty amazing. I don't think
5 hours. That one was cool because people come on popping on. You put the link out there, and I think Melanie popped on, and Deanna and Michelle or BTTB, and people were popping on left and right. So that was a lot of fun. One thing I was listening to a podcast today, and it was talking about how the monetary system works in England, and it was just, you got my wheels turning about a couple of things. One, obviously the money used to be backed by gold. It's not anymore, but they used gold as a commodity to back it. And I was thinking, okay, what's the future of currency? Because the current currency in society isn't working. I mean, we're headed towards a collapse of fiat currency. Our debt ratio to actual reserve currency is ridiculous. So if we were to go back to like a commoditized currency, kind of what we kind of have that with the US dollar with oil. Oil is the commodity, and the US dollar is kind of a little bit backed by that in a sense. But I was thinking about M2 right here, and the commodity of the M2 currency is people, and so that's the future of commodities. Is people will be valued as the commodity, and the currency be backed by that. So there's some alpha there with M2.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. And I'm looking forward to learning more about that, especially in 2023. I think that's going to be a big thing. Big.
Yep, absolutely.
So, very good. So we'll do it again tomorrow night, and we'll throw some poker on top of that, and we'll have some fun.
That's right. Good stuff, man.
Hopefully I make it past ninth place tomorrow.
And I have wrapped up. I finished up. I think I showed you a little bit today too. I'll show you too, Austin. I did make an educational thing where everything is organized. Woo! So everybody will see it. It's got a lot of new stuff, a lot of new content, and a lot of our stuff that we have 2 years of YouTube. So I have it all organized in exact space. You will have login information. I'll ask everybody if you want to do that. Anybody that's not in the bees will have to pay for this because it is. It really is good educational information, and anybody that's a bee, I'll get some information from you, and then yes, I'll get you your logins. Right? So cool.
Let's go.
Let's go. That's right.
A peep inside the ray of light's knowledge base inside of his head.
It's got everybody in there, man. It's not just me. No, it's all good. But I appreciate it. We have an awesome community. Remember, I'm gonna start and end all this all the time. Don't click on links. Don't get your wallet. Don't put it at risk at anything right there. It's not worth it. There's nothing out there in crypto worth it. Most everybody is trying to scam you. Look at the whole year this happened. A lot of crypto is just wacky and wonky, right? You're in a good place. Don't worry about all the other goofiness, right? We're gonna have plenty of goodness. 2023 is gonna be an awesome year. So thank y'all, and we will see you tomorrow. But appreciate you
tomorrow night.
Thanks,
night,
Austin.
everybody.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate y'all.